Okay. I will need to just 1 minute. Okay, let us do a 1 minute short meditation. From the unreal, lead us to the real. From darkness, lead us to light. From death, lead us to immortality. Right. Welcome, everyone. Does anyone remember where we stopped?
Next time you can make the last color, the last.
Oh yeah, I'm just testing you all. I did highlight.
You have something. You have something yellow there.
Yeah, it's a test.
I think we managed like a 1 page or something. We was.
I think we did 2 paragraphs.
No, 2 or 3. I think. No, more than 2. I think.
I think the
Because
last
you.
one was this.
No. This is the first page.
Yes, I think we only did 2 paragraphs.
No. I think we did the third one also, but show me the downstairs because we were supposed to start reading the. Yeah, this one we haven't done, definitely. But you can
Oh yeah,
start
yeah,
with
yeah.
the third one then maybe.
Okay, no, we can. I think I remember this. We did talk about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So who wants to start? To read. Okay. For those that didn't come the last time, we will actually read out the paragraph. Participants will read by the paragraph. Okay.
I can start reading the first one.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Golden Stairs was originally published by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky in 1890, at a time when she was much concerned with injustice, loyalty, and altruism in her own life. Later, a revised from the document was made available. The difference in a wording between the original and the revised version are slight. They were made perhaps because in a few places the original version is susceptible to misinterpretation without commentary. The original version was, however, being printed in the collected writings 503. I don't know if it's the page number, and is used here as the one of the most accurately represented the statement in the form Blavatsky wished to be known. It was originally printed as a single paragraph. The spacing and number are introduced here to clarify the structure of the statement, which is discussed below. I think this is like explanatory thing, but I like just bring out that this is like what Blavatsky wished to be known. The one of the statements or one of the from all the text she has written, she herself thought that this is one of the most important one to be well known.
Okay. So the start of this paragraph, right? This Golden Stairs was originally published by HPB at a time when he was much concerned with injustice, loyalty, and altruism in her own life. So the thing is, why would injustice, loyalty, and altruism be such a concern that she has to publish the Golden Stairs? Like, why would the Golden Stairs or ethics would be important during a time of injustice, loyalty, or altruism? Shred.
Yeah, well, it was published in 1890, so just 1 year before her passing away, I think. She was already in Europe, maybe even in London, I don't know. But it was already after all the problems and scandals that happened with Coulomb case and Psychic Research Society. So she was seeing that it's not just against her, but against the work that she was doing for the masters, against the TS project in generally, and it's like a statement for, I think, TS members that you need to stay true because all kind of treachery or unloyalty does a lot of harm. And yeah, and also yesterday actually Abhinav was giving us a talk to TS in Russia about Golden Stairs, and he mentioned that this rule of protection of the one who is unjustly attacked is not a very standard thing in Eastern philosophy, but it was put in the Golden Stairs. So active participation in the life of society generally, in a general society, is somehow part of the Theosophical path. Not just stand aside or sit on the mountaintop, but be somehow engaged and useful for the life of people. Something like that. Thank you.
Is the talk that Abhinav gave, is it recorded? Can we see it afterwards now?
Oh, for sure. I will publish it and I will send you the link, Mariki.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I think Blavatsky wrote it to somewhere. I remember somebody has said that it was written like for the inner circle or something. She had a group of students that she was specially teaching, and later it was to everybody to share. But in the first, and I'm thinking it was something like there's in the later last time you mentioned what were the 12 stairs, but one of them are that you have to bravely feel. Oh yeah, yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, courageous endurance of personal, and that the brave declaration, and the other one that validate defense of those who are. Yeah, exactly. You know what I was thinking.
Yes.
But do the things that if you're unjustly attacked, you yourself let it be. But if somebody else, then you have to defend, to make it clear this is how it should be. Because if something happens to yourself, it might be a karma. And for her, it wasn't just her karma. She was taking a part of wider karma by bringing those things in. So she got much more attacked than I personally think that she actually was earned. But she was, yeah. But the thing, I really felt like this was the thing that he wrote down, and he didn't like, this is how you should take these things that happens to you, that if you witness somebody else to be attacked, then you help. This is your duty.
That's a good one. Thank you, Mary Kay. Anyone else? Okay, so I think it's nice that Sweat and Mary Kay brought up about the valiant defense of those who are unjustly attacked, because I think somewhere, I think the last session that I attended in Singapore Lodge, someone actually mentioned about her experience of how her friend, or actually her colleague, her co-worker was troubled with black magic. And the thing is, she doesn't know how bad it is, so she tried, right, to use some kind of tools to clear off the entity, so to speak. But somehow the entity actually latched on to her. And then, of course, she went to another group and they managed to remove it from her, the entity. And the thing is, her statement to us, her sharing to us was, she was actually very affected when her friends, when she shared this with her friends said that, why would you actually do things like that? Because you don't know what you're dealing with, you may not have the skill, you may not have whatever it takes, and then you cause more harm to yourself. But the thing is, her statement that she put out, her response was, because her friend or the co-worker, it is so unfair for her to get the black magic, to get that entity, because she was just there at the wrong time. And she was tearing. And then my thought was that, yes, know this statement about the unjustly attacked. It's not just being defamed in the political sense or in the psychological sense. It could be any way being attacked, right? And this got me to realize that, however much incapable that we are, incapable that we are, we can try. If we do feel the repercussions and we get the repercussions, we will learn and know how to do it better next time. And somehow it might be actually be good that we do try rather than not try at all. Yeah, so this is my thought. Does anyone want to add on to this?
Like Giordano Bruno says, better try greatly and fail than not try at all. I think maybe even if he might have failed, but this was preparing for some next thing. Like, yeah.
yeah, I suppose like we will be actually given the opportunity to have greater capacity to help after learning about all this, because these kind of things will bring more clarity, definitely. Okay,
We have
so
two comments. One is Vladislav, he says, it's the business of friend to protect you. Your business is protect to them. Oh, so nice. And Cheryl is saying, this discussion is making me think about what justice really means and what the difference is between social injustice, which we are to be concerned with, as Blavatsky was here, and personal injustice, which are called upon to endure. Do you want to?
Yeah, I wanted to comment. Is this okay? Is
yeah,
it too noisy?
no, I think
Okay.
Apple earpods have good noise cancellation.
Oh, good, good, good. I was afraid it was too noisy for people. But yeah, it's just making me think about what justice really means. In my role, my job as a lawyer, every day I confront issues about what justice means. And if there's anything I've learned, is that the law has almost very little to do with justice at some point. And so I'm very curious about, when HPB talks about justice and injustice in this context of the golden stairs and what it means to live in Africa, what justice really means for each of us. And you can look very different. Some might take a utilitarian approach and say the maximum number of people who are happy, that's justice. Some may take a different approach and think more about morality and going closer to justice. I'm just very curious about what she really say about justice. It's just a question. For me, it's a question rather than into my mind.
Thanks. Does anyone have a definition of justice in this case? Or at least your own version of what the justice means?
Maybe harmony, because I was just listening the Mahatma letters last 2 weeks, and they say we have only one law, the law of harmony. And I think perfect harmony is justice. But if it's out of balance or out of harmony, it looks like injustice. But it's looked like because we see only this short period of time. We don't see previous life. We don't see why these things happen right now. What are the causes? We only see this moment or this picture, but not the whole movie. So I think the whole movie is whole process of life, whole like Manatara is like in balance, in harmony. But if you take one piece out of it, then it might be injustice. Yeah. How some people are born as a kings and queens and the other ones are like beggars. It seems like injustice.
Yeah, I think I want to add on to what Marika has said. I think justice and injustice is usually subjective on a personal level. Right? It's how we see things. And if we really look at it from the point of view of the universe, like the overall, the bigger picture, like what Marika was saying, there's really no such thing as injustice in that sense. But I think injustice is more like how anyone would perceive suffering. Right? Sometimes, of course, I think there might be things that happen to you not because you were owing it to someone else. But the thing is, we'll never know for sure, right? Unless we have a great clairvoyance power, we can see back like 2 billion years. But I think there's something that made me that I realized almost about a year ago is this statement. Do I actually have the audacity to doubt what is happening to me is actually unfair, whereas universe actually let it happen? do I actually think that the universe, I know more or better than the universe or God? This really humble me a lot, really, when I actually think about it in this way. Does anyone has anything to add on?
Yes, and that is why I think in the starting comment when you said justice could be relative, it sort of made me stand up a bit, because from our own individual lens, we maybe it could look subjective, but I think what HBB is trying to suggest here is that there are some natural forms of ethics of law. If you go down and so on, she does speak about how there is a belief in natural ethics in the golden stairs rather than revealed commandments about the naturalness and obviousness of law. Ultimately, justice is about, I imagine, how one conduct a good life for oneself and also within one society. And so I imagine that there ought to be at least some objective principles than just subjectivity when we speak about justice. And here, it feels like HPB was trying to lay down some guiding principles using the golden stairs. What constitutes a moral life, what justice means, in other words, in her view.
Thank you. Then now it gave me a question to ask. I think you gave a good input. So, if everyone lived strictly to ethics, to the version of ethics, right? Will anyone actually suffer injustice? If the whole world, every single person followed the ethics and followed the way of like what is printed here in the golden stairs.
But I think it is like, will we start right now? Then we will suffer because we have previously created karma. But if we were starting from the beginning, living ethically, then we wouldn't live. Then we would be like angels who are not able to do any wrong, because we would be still like in a paradise, but we wouldn't know the right or wrong. If we were able to do if we were not able to do wrong, we wouldn't be humans. We wouldn't have the manas to create. This is the thing for human beings. I mean, if everybody starts right now on to live very ethically, then we still have created several different amounts of karma that we have to purify before the suffering totally ends.
Exactly, yes. So it really depends on what we're saying, talking about suffering. If by injustice in the future you mean suffering because of the consequences of our past actions, then those continue to need to be exhausted. But then again, there are other yogis out there who endure a lot of, what seem to us as bodily pain or physical pain, but they do not consider that as injustice or suffering. Yeah, so karma continues to operate, and we do need to exhaust it in order to move forward.
Thank you. Svet?
Yeah, it makes me remember that the biggest dialogue of Socrates is actually about looking for justice, what it means, the state, this biggest dialogue. So they really were hard put to find out what exactly it is. But sometimes it's easier to see what it is not. For example, lies are not just, right? Slander is not just. So if we see that happening, we can clearly protect others from that. And also, I think that if we meet some situation where we can help someone who is suffering and we have a chance to do it, better to do it, because that person is suffering because of karma, but we can help that person also because of karma. So it's not outside the law. But if we don't, then we lose the chance to do something good. And maybe in the karma of that person was our help included, and we didn't do it, so it becomes our karma. So I think we should not punish anyone, but we should try to help, and karma will sort out the rest. That's like a general idea, I think. But then, of course, we have to be discerning and listen to our heart and all of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Svet. Now I have another trick question. Okay, it's not trick question. So Mary Kay mentioned that if everyone has no karma and live by the way of the ethics of the golden stairs, could one still create karma? Or would there still be injustice? Okay, I repeat the question again. If all the people in the world has no karma, okay, everything is clean. Okay, hurry.
Hi everyone. So I think Francis, it reminded me of a beautiful quote. I'm something similar. So there's this great filmmaker called Tarkovsky. Somebody asked him, all of his films are about how in Russia the government was oppressive, how people are suffering, and all his art was about that. So somebody asked him, if everything was perfect, what would you make movies about? He said, art exists because things are not perfect. If everything is perfect, why would I be saying something? So I think in the context of justice, injustice, and all of that, I think we talk in these terms because we don't live in a perfect world. So I think if you live in a perfect world, where there is no everybody is following everything ethically or however, I don't think there is that urge to grow either spiritually or philosophically or something like that, right? So if everything is perfect, I don't think we will need steps for spiritual journey or something. So uh, I mean, I feel your question becomes non-existent if everybody is perfect. But also, going back to something we were discussing earlier, in terms of what is justice and what is injustice, I also think it's a very subjective thing because, for example, not looking at a king and a beggar in a separate way. Buddha was a king who left everything and he was, begging for alms, and that's how he was living, but he was not suffering. So I think, uh, 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 I mean, somebody could be in a war zone but not suffer. So I think the idea has to be how we can tackle this thing of suffering rather than figuring out what is justice and injustice, because I think most philosophical traditions talk about overcoming suffering. They don't talk about create overcoming injustice or overcoming justice or something like that. So yeah, I think like there's this thing in Buddhism, like desire is the root cause of evil, or suffering. So I think suffering has nothing to do with is injustice being done on you, or are you living in a justified world or something like that. So I think suffering is something very subjective and personal. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you, Hari. So I want to point out something. When I actually asked the question, I wasn't saying that the world is perfect, and having a perfect world is not equals to no karma. So the question still stays. You think about this, okay? Why do we actually come here and study about the golden stairs? Right, look at this passage. I think what
I
Sweat.
can,
Yeah, sorry, you can say first.
please finish. Yes.
Yeah, I think what Sweat was, what he noted just now was the point about to discern is important, right? Because when you look at the golden stairs, a clean life and open mind, we are here to actually explore what it actually means. And the thing is, we may not have karma, but we are far from perfect. Okay, karma is just one set of things, right? And then if you are actually, you think about this, karma, you could only start before you would incur karma, you'll be at the start of so-called start of time. And then when you move on a long, very long time, you work out your karma, you become a perfect being. So having karma not worked out, or being perfected after being worked out of the karma is two different things, right? So even if there is no more, like all of us, all of a sudden we wipe out all the karma all the way, but it doesn't mean that we will still understand what the ethics are, and we will be discerning enough to do it the right way. And then we'll start to create karma again. Okay, sorry. Mary Kay, please.
Me, and then we have one comment from Leo in also. But I wanted to say, I think karma is very much to do that we are living in a physical world. Previous races were less physical, and that's why they were more spiritual, because the physical affected them less. But now we are like a fully in physical, because I feel that I am tired. I feel that I'm hungry. I feel that cold, or I need to do. And if I do something, then I feel I'm more effective. But if you live in a like less dense, like less physical and more, how can I say, if it would be in other circumstances where we wouldn't be in such a way physical world, then also the effect of karma would be less. And how it is in Secret Doctrine written that, the first race was super spiritual, but they didn't think they wasn't intellectual. Then it became more intellectual and more dense. And then the third one, Lemurians, and so on. So I think we started creating small karmic things, and it becomes more already in like a first race it's something, and the second race, and we got like everything like coming, because we feel right away like the effects of it. Yeah, but I also, yeah, this is one of the things. So I think that's why we cannot escape from the karma here.
I agree. It's just some thought experiments. Okay, and Leo.
I think that for karma, if I'm not mistaken, karma actually stretch from all the way to from higher mental plane all the way down to physical plane. So we also have karma on the astral plane, karma on the mental plane as well. So when we pass on, we need to, like, let's say for the karma of this life, we have exhausted the karma, a portion of karma for this lifetime on the physical plane. When we pass into karma loka, the astral plane, we still have to work out our own karma on the astral plane. So which means that karma only stops when we reach Buddhi level. That's the level that karma will not influence us, if I'm not mistaken.
But while I'm living in a physical, I'm also thinking and I'm also feeling. So I'm thinking I'm doing those things like parallel, and the physical helps me to like magnify. So I'm pushed to work, because if I will be only in a mental level without ever having to be without ever feeling the pain of physical, then why would I feel I will be a little bit lazy? Why would I like push to do things? Like I have to go to work, I have to do this and that to make a life. But I agree that even if this physical things finishes this level, then actually does it mean that everything is worked out? Yeah.
I think this is one of the common topic in Buddhist classes, like the Dharma classes, about You know, the usual thing that the teacher will actually talk about is that if you still have desire, you will come back. It's because of the yearning of the physical objects. Okay, regardless, is it money, is it lust, relationship, or whatever. If you have anything that you are yearning for or you desire for that could only be satisfied in a physical living a physical life, then you will come back. Of course, there are actually a lot of opinions, right? Even people talking about how come there are some people that still have karma and then they are really enlightened. There's so many things, right? The first thing is how do you define what enlightenment is? What level is it? You know, there's so many different versions of that across all the different religions. And Gerald, you have something to say, right? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. So karma works both ways. We can have bad karma, but also good karma. So even if we try to now live the ethic of the golden stairs, if we come from it from a self-centered desire to want to improve ourselves, that will continue to also attract karma. I guess the ultimate call is exactly like what you were saying. Until we are perfected enough, the goal is eventually to free ourselves from the working of karma, such a manner. And very few people in the world did that. The Buddha was one such example. But that doesn't mean that we can't move towards that. Like what we're doing now, what we're trying to do, it's going to be imperfect and we're going to make mistakes and then we're going to also keep making karma. That doesn't mean that we can't continue to do this. Even if we desire is still one step ahead than desire in the opposite direction. So that gives us hope that we can still move forward even if we're not perfected beings.
Thanks. And I want to add on to this. Sorry.
No, please add. I just wanted to read the Leo's comment. But you can
Okay. Just one last point to touch on. You know the story of the life of Buddha, right? You know the last part. He was actually the last moments before he passed on into the Nirvana. He was actually served poisonous mushroom by someone that I didn't know. Okay. And the thing is, he said that it's meant to be like that, right? And then the question comes, what does it actually mean in the first place? Right? If you are actually an enlightened being, most likely you do not have what we think as what karma acts as. We should have worked it out, all of it, before we're enlightened. But the thing is, we do know from the masters in the past, right? The Lord Buddha, he's way past the fifth degree of initiate, way past fifth degree. And for him to be still subjected to return the favor, so to speak, to the person that served in the mushroom, I think this actually calls for a bit of contemplation to think about. What actually do we actually understand by working out of karma or to be perfected beings and stuff like that, you know? Okay, let's look at Leo's comment. Jump too much already. Okay, Leo said, at that level of mastery, when all works according to the golden stairs, karma will be created consciously like we design products in this world. But the long-term impact of each of these consciously developed karma are still uncontrollable because the manifestation of this principle may still be slightly off. Thus, there may be imperfection and thus injustice in the third or fourth layer of repercussions from the original karma produced, if this makes sense. Yes. I think this is like a summary of what we are talking about. It's a good one. Constraint.
Yeah, I think that we will, like karma is action, right? Is the translation of the word is action. So as long as there is action on any level, physical, mental, astral, there will be karma created. So Mahatmas, for example, I imagine create a lot of good karma, which actually brings them further on in their development, higher levels, until they reach probably the level of Buddha. And but in them there is no personal element of that karma. So and Buddha probably in 1 minute creates more good karma than like we can in many lifetimes. But there is no lower self, so who creates karma becomes a question. Something like that, maybe. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And there's also a reference that I saw some years ago, a few years, that a video by Sadhguru, Isha Foundation, Sadhguru. So I think someone was asking him about how can we stop creating karma or like have zero karma and stuff like that. And his point was similar to what Sweat was talking about. As someone as lofty as the Buddha, to be able to reach so many people with his teachings, and even reaching people thousands of years after he passed on into nirvana, he has a lot of karma that he created. Not necessarily negative, but because of the karma, he is actually able to reach out to so many people. And of course, he actually lived many lives, okay, way more. And then this really got me thinking about how ourselves, how we could actually, the relationship between how we could reach people with our understanding about theosophy. For example, if we are actually trying to popularize theosophy, it is not so much about how skillful we are and whatever, it's also our karma if we are able to reach a lot of people as well. And the thing is, the more we try this life, the more we have the next. So, yeah, there's something to point out.
So beautiful. Can I add something?
Yes.
We were talking the other day with Lakshmi Kantam about, he was telling that in Bhagavad Gita it is written, if he can comment in himself afterwards. But it is written that if you do something, then at the point of your death, you're able to, if you're able to realize the truth, you don't have to born back. And I ask, but what about the karma that you have created? Like if you go to nirvana, then what about the previously created karma? It must be like, exhausted. And I remember he quoted another place in Bhagavad Gita that says, if you see the truth like it really is, then you exhaust the karma. There is nothing else, because what we need to learn, the karmic lessons, are that we do not understand it. But if you understand the reality, you don't have the karma anymore. But here he is. Please comment if you can.
Lakshmi!
Yes.
Hello. Hi. Yes, Marika, that is absolutely right. So actually, in the Bhagavad Gita, I was actually telling Marika this. So in the end of the second chapter, so Arjuna is getting a kind of, a talk by Krishna, and Krishna at that point says that, okay, what happens when you when you attain the state of samadhi? And you completely for the whole life you practice being in that state of samadhi, then what happens? So it says at the end of your life, if you are able to be in that state of brahma vidya, which is where you're able to actually be in that state of god consciousness, then all your karma is absolved, and you go into that plane in which you are not bound by life and death again, and you do not need to come back into this endless life, into this cycle of life. And then Arjuna is kind of he's, just like Marika said, like, okay, so what happens to all that karma that we already have? And that is where in the third chapter he said that what actually absolves all the karma is your insight and your knowledge of the truth. So when you see that truth, that perception of the truth is like a fire which absolves all karma. So basically, how I understand it is that all of life, the karma and all that, is actually it's like a classroom. I mean, because I'm a teacher, so I say it's a classroom, but so it's like a classroom where you are coming to learn. So the moment you learn, your karma gets like blazed out. It says fire just destroys all that karma that we have. So I think that is what Merrick was saying as well. So that insight is what is most important rather than the actions and all the other things.
Oh, that's a good one. Thank you, thank you. Hari.
So beautiful, Lakshmi, because I think that is such a wonderful way. In a way, I was thinking about Bhagavad Gita also, because I see that Bhagavad Gita is happening in the middle of this war, this epic war of Mahabharat. So I always felt the teachings in theory in Bhagavad Gita are shown in the war, like what's happening in the war. And to talk about the chapters you mentioned, if you see, there were all these, one side was of course the good people, Krishna and Arjuna and all of these people, but the other side was full of all these people who were horrendous people, like doing all sorts of things. But if you see, even a horrible person in the opposition, in the last moments when they meet Krishna, and when they talk to him and when they have that moment of realization, Krishna says it's over, like those people have attained, even somebody like Bhishma Pitamaha, or who are considered these, who have done lots of bad karma, like and then, but on their deathbed they meet Krishna and they go through this moment of realization, and everything is gone. There is nothing that they're carrying anymore. So I thought it was very beautiful that you brought that up.
Oh, that's a good one. Thanks. Huh? Ah,
Absolutely, Hari.
all right, thank you. All right, so it's been used. Okay, I think this paragraph is good. It's a very deep conversation and discussion. That's good. So would anyone wants to read or recite the golden stairs? Vignesh, seems like you
Hi.
are ready.
Scroll up a bit, first line.
Wait, just let me. Okay.
Right. Behold the truth before you. Clean life, an open mind, a pure heart, an eager intellect, an unveiled spiritual perception, a brotherliness for one's co-disciple, a readiness to give and receive advice and instruction, a loyal sense of duty to the teacher, a willing obedience to the behests of truth. Once we have placed our confidence in and believe that teacher to be in possession of it, a courageous endurance of personal injustice, a brave declaration of principles, a valiant defense of those who are unjustly attacked, and a constant eye to the ideal of human progression and perfection, which the secret science or Gupta Vidya depicts. These are the golden stairs up the steps of which the learner may climb to the temple of divine wisdom.
Thank you. So we only have 10 minutes, but how about let's attempt to define what is a clean life?
So obviously it is clean in a different levels. Physical level, keep your cleanliness. In mental level, keep your cleanliness by like looking what kind of thoughts you allow in. And of course, emotions also, like if you know that hatred or is not good or irritated, then you do something about it to have it lessen. I think the clean life is like in different levels. It's not only on your action.
can anyone define what clean actually means, right? Because America, just now you're talking about watching your thoughts, right? Knowing like which emotions are actually helpful. But what does clean in this sense mean? Like
Harmony, perhaps harmony. That is
harmony.
harmonious with the bigger picture.
Sweat.
Yeah, maybe something that is in line with your evolution and something doesn't go against your natural cause of evolution. And also, I think it's on different levels, as Marika mentioned. On the level of motivation is like the deepest, most important level of clean that must exist in you. And then the most external is physical cleanliness. And the deeper the level of cleanliness, the more difficult it is to ensure it. So to work with your motivation is the most difficult, but the most valuable. And then level of thoughts, level of feelings, level of emotions, level of speech, and level of physical actions. All of those levels should be clean as possible. And basically, like, like Dalai Lama says, if you can help others, then help others. If you can't, at least don't harm them. So that's a good guideline. And also it makes me remember about the famous article Elixir of Life. It speaks like important things about clean life in a practical way. Thank you.
Thank you. Channel.
The word clean makes me think of the opposite, which is to be pure. And so it suggests to me the freedom from impurity. It then makes me think about how the many traditions, including Theosophy, speak about how we all have a divine nature within us. Whether it's the essence of God, a particle of divinity, Buddha nature, there is always this suggestion that by nature we are already pure and clean and whole. But as we go out throughout life, we get have layers and layers of all of this conditioning trauma that is preventing us, obscuring us from revealing our true divine nature in us. So at every plane, totally echo what Song was, so Slav was saying, sorry, about how at every plane the idea is to be clean, to be free from all of these impurities, so that we can, the true nature can shine. The metaphor that's always used is that we are mirrors covered with dust, and we dust away all of these impurities and can live clean, shining nature within.
Nice. Leonidas?
I see this as a lifestyle that can produce a clean life. It's like it's not a result that one day my life is clean and then the next day it's not. So then it is a constant kind of lifestyle behind which that can produce that cleanliness inside and out that everyone has been sharing.
Thanks. Leo?
A clean life reminds me of the 8 noble paths that the Buddha talks about. It starts with the right speech, right thought, right livelihood, right understanding, right mindfulness, and so on.
Hari?
Yes. So quickly, I think one more aspect. I think clean karma or clean life would also mean fulfilling one's duty. Just again giving an example of Mahabharat, when Arjuna asks Krishna, like, he falls on his knees in the middle of the battle and he's like, you're asking me to go fight this war, kill these people. And then I have my family on the other side. I have friends on the other side. I have my mentors on the other side. So then, Krishna says something. He's like, now this is your karma. It is your duty to go through this war and do whatever it takes. So I think clean karma might not only mean something that is peaceful or no action or something. I think it is whatever duty dictates.
Thanks. Lakshmi?
So that day we were having I was having a conversation with Marike, and at that time, we were talking about how I was telling her Einstein said if you explain some, if you really know something very well, then you need to be able to explain it in the simplest possible way so that even a child can understand it. So, I was thinking about clean life, like lots of different terms and definitions and everything comes. But let's say you meet a person who hasn't ever heard about any of the sacred texts or, anything. Then how will you explain a clean life to them is what I was thinking. So I was thinking probably uh, just the fact that you have to follow your conscience and just I'm sure that everyone knows what is right and wrong inherently, like according to their conscience, whether whatever aspect of life they be. They know that, okay, this is what we are supposed to do. Let's say if they say wake up in the morning and do some exercise or something, they all know how to live their life in a clean and positive and good way. But I think the inner obstacles within us sometimes prevent that from happening, and prevent us from really listening to our own inner selves, that inner conscience. So I will say, from the moment we are born till the moment, till we are getting evolved, just following the conscience will be called a clean life. That's my simple one line definition. If you were to ask me.
Thanks. That's a good one. But the thing is, we cannot just define and we end the session. We can't just define the clean life and then we end the session, okay? This one is not conclusive. So we may extend a little bit more. So now the next question is, why is having a clean life important? How does it actually contribute to our journey or our path or the path?
Becomes important when we want to reach the temple of divine wisdom. If we don't see it as important yet, then the green life is not, it's hard to explain why it's, but if you feel that this is something important or there's something more than is physical, then it starts to be more and more gradually important.
What's your question again?
Oh, my question is, how does it contribute? Why having a clean life is important? And how does it contribute to the path? And that was the question. Lakshmi.
Oh, yes. Okay. So yes, I think I really like that question. And also, if you see, that is actually kind of the first step. I totally agree, because if you see, whenever you do something that is not according to consciousness, or conscience, or something which you feel is not very pure of heart, and pure, like something that is not a very nice deed, then automatically your mind gets affected. Like, let's say you even lie, it'll always be there in your mind, at the back of your mind, when in that moment, and that is affecting your mind, which will also affect your heart. You can't be as open-hearted and free-spirited as generally, when you don't align with your conscience and align with having a clean life. So I think that is the first step. I think that is very important first step. So yeah.
Thank you. Liu.
I think that a clean life is the number one, like the first criteria, because for me, at least for me, the implication is that it needs to start from us first, from each individual. We start from ourselves, like we change ourselves. Before we want to change the world, we change ourselves. So we live a clean life, like, right livelihood, just like the Eight Noble Path the Buddha say, or the 10 Commandments that Jesus Christ give. So a clean life here, first of all, that we start with us. And then the second indication for me is, as we all know, that life, unity of life, or life is interconnectedness. So whatever we do, either we are consciously or we unconsciously know about it or not, is to affect the life around us. So I think that the clean life is the most important thing because it starts from you, but it affects the life around you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone add on? Okay, last question. Just think about this. Look at this, all this passage. Okay, at least this. Does number 2 to number 13 make sense if you do not have a clean life?
I also think that this is not steps like you have clean life and then you start working with open mind and then with a pure heart. I think there are like steps that comes simultaneously, or in a way you have to go back again the same steps. So I don't think they're like I finished first, that I finished first, but it's like Leo says, this is like the first to start. If you have to start, this is like the first to start with. But at the same time, I think the open mind is part of the clean life, because clean life is that you don't create a lot of bad karma and you don't have a prejudices, and open mind is also against the prejudices. So those are like, things that going hand in hand. Yes.
Thanks. That's a good one. Sweat.
Yeah, I think that doing everything else without clean life is like trying to open the door where you push with one hand and pull with the other hand. So you're impeding yourself a lot, and you are staying in one place at best. And also, if it's the first stair in the ladder, then the higher you go, the more important it is that your first foundational step is secure. Because if it starts shaking, you will fall from wherever you climb, right? So clean life, must be like a sine qua non, necessary condition, I think.
Very nice. That's a good one.
Clean life also indicates a kind of discipline in one constant willingness to learn what is right, what is wrong, and then to have the discipline to practice it, or at least a drive to practice it. And that comes, I mean, none of the rest kind of come before that. I mean, you cannot openly practice an open mind or having a pure heart unless you have kind of discipline or an inner a drive to be pure spirited or live a clean life. So yes, it's a foundation. That's what I was saying.
Good one. Leonidas.
I'll say in the other way around. If the life is not clean, what is the mind open to? Because then anything that will come to that kind of mind whose life is not clean will probably be of the same sort, which is like it will attract a lot more of unclean know-how into the mind, and with that, it's impossible to have any pure heart at all. So then nothing else can go afterwards. That's what I feel.
That's a good one. Thanks. I think Gerald has a comment.
The quick one that echoes what people have been saying, that there is a deliberate order to 13 steps. I give you another 13 steps commentary by Kenneth Cook that suggests that the metaphor of a stairway is indicative that there is an order and sequence to the steps on the stairs. And so the clean life is foundational to that. But actually, we also cannot take the metaphor too seriously, because in this very alveolar commentary that you are also following, he does suggest that every step is not taken only once. like we need to take these steps over and over again. So it also doesn't mean that we must lead a clean life and then ignore the others, and only if we perfect the clean life then we move on to the others. He's also not suggesting that. I don't think that's what the metaphor is saying, but there is some truth to the idea that a clean life is foundational to the rest.
Well said, well said. I think all of you, the way you put it is really good, because all these are supposed to be simultaneous. Yet, you know, when we think about stairs and we look at all the illustrations we can see online, the stairs to the divine, to the inner court, is one straight line. But you actually think about it, it's actually a spiral stairs, right? You go step 1, step 2, all the different steps, and you go back to the same point again. Same point looking from top down, but you're at one level higher. And the way you understand a clean life might be different, or it might be more refined. And then the way we discern what an open mind is, because we have a slightly cleaner life, and what the pure heart is, and the rest, right? How we discern what is justice, how we discern how we should defend, you know. When we say defend the unjustly attacked, this is such a broad word. You know, you could just go out and hit and go and beat someone up, right? That's called justice. But that is based on how we discern and how we understand and how we define of what it is. And I think it is both simultaneous, and yet I think again, looking at all these different steps, right? I think the one that you have to constantly do is this. Right, you don't really actually have a chance to have brotherliness for one's co-disciple every single moment. Right, I think it goes by the frequency, the decrease in frequency as well. So the most fundamental ones are the ones that always follow you through at every single moment of your life. And then slowly it goes up, right? You don't actually see every moment like someone getting unjustly attacked, right? So it gets like the frequency or the intervals gets bigger and bigger. So I suppose this is actually a good way to look at it. Fundamentally, simultaneously, evolutionary, in whichever aspect we look at. I think it's a good one. Yeah, so, no, any more last comments?
We will continue with that. This is like the most important page or most important thing. Yeah.
Oh,
that
no way. We have to conclude with this session. But okay, you can add on.
I'm thinking this, maybe each time in the beginning we can just reread this one also. To remember us what is the 13 that we are talking about.
Yes. I think the next 15 sessions will be at this page. There's a lot of things about. We
can also see what John was talking about it.
Yes. I think I can send this commentary URL as well in the group, so we can actually read it a bit as well for all of us to see. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wait. 1 minute of silence. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May all who feel themselves as one with thee know they are therefore one with every other. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, afternoon, and morning and night.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you.
Vignesh and Merike, see you in Catalina's talk.
What time is Catalina's talk?
It's at